some of these around his ankles.
He probably does.
Yeah. Oh, well, he like that too.
Like I said, I know a lot of people know your grandparents, Chris, and they know the stories from the the movies and all that other stuff. But tell us about yourself. Like what are you all about, and what's the foundation all about? Yeah, leave me out. It's been trying to leave me out of this whole show.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's been crazy. So yeah, everybody, just so you all know tonight, Dana is going to actually kind of run the show. Good evening, everybody. We are live now. You had asked me a question right after I hit that button, Tramp. So
it's shared. Don't worry about it. It's shared. Good evening, everybody.
So everybody, tonight we have one of the pioneers in internet broadcasting. You're actually probably largely responsible for why we can do what we do now. You started out in internet radio way back in the day when it was like an original thing. We were talking about that in the green room behind screen. Why don't you talk about that a little bit with the dial-up connection and how long it would take to do a show and all that fun stuff.
With a 14.4 connection when we started putting all this together. And by the end, it was 56K, of course. Our live broadcasts, the quality sucked so badly. It was really pathetic. We had, we streamed the music because it's the only way we could get through to it without getting kicked off by somebody calling the phone line. Any show that we did, now it's called a podcast, but it took like 3 hours to upload something like that and 3 hours for you to download it, so we could just stream it on Real Producer and everybody used Real Player to listen to it. By the time I was done with this with dial-up, and the other people that were involved in this were done, it's like we had 20 listeners, and that was the max. That was the max. You could not get any more listeners. And I had one modem set for 156K modem set for outgoing, 156K modem set for incoming, so I could get 100K, which was extremely fast back then, even though it was a snail's crawl on crack.
Yeah. Like I said, man, it was like, back in those days, it was a pain in the butt just to get to a website. It took, 5 minutes. I can't imagine even trying to do a show with that kind of connection.
You could have like one picture on each web page, and you could have a little bit of wording, or most websites back then was all words. The bulletin boards, and that's what they called them back then. BB or bulletin board. That was where everybody hung out, and they'd go to type chat because you couldn't. But it was impossible for more than one person to do what we're doing right now.
Yeah, you'd get a question the next day.
It was like, can you hear me? Can you hear me? And I think he froze up because he hasn't moved in 10 minutes. Either that, or somebody would know that you're broadcasting something, and they would purposely call your phone just to be a dick.
Just to kick you off. That's hilarious. So people don't probably, I don't know how many people know, but this is Arizona Tramp. He like I said, he was a pioneer in the internet broadcasting world. He's done a lot of paranormal stuff. He's an author. It sounds like you do some spiritual healing and things like that. You do he started a show called Swamp Gas. Was that the name of the original show, or was it something else?
No, the original station that I had, which really wasn't a station, but it was a podcast, and it was attempt to do streaming, but that was the Pagan Radio Network.
Okay.
And then from there it went to Pagan Radio Network, but it was in the Witches Brew.
Okay.
And it did quite well for a while, and until people found out they could get better.
Yeah.
And because you had all these companies coming out by then.
Yep.
And so then it went to, I did my own thing and packed it all up and did my own thing. And when I finally came back to Toledo, I'm doing this little podcast thing, and it started to blow up a little bit. So I came back to Toledo and I started the radio show after had given it up a little bit, and that was Black Swamp Radio. It seemed
Okay.
like the perfect name for my radio station being in Northwest Ohio.
Yeah.
It was Black Swamp Radio.
Yep.
Everything is Black Swamp Radio, Black Swamp something around here.
Well, a good friend of ours
So
is the Black Swamp Medium, so
yeah, I know.
so
And so
a couple people are saying hi. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Rachel's saying hi, so we want to say hi to Rachel.
oh
Carmen is in here. She's one of the mediums that I was talking to you about before we actually went on air. So how you doing, Carmen? And then we got Butch Leon is in here. He goes by the name Larry on the internet for some reason.
yeah, he does. I got yeah. Hi everybody. I mean, and I gotta throw shouts out to everybody out there listening right now.
Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
The people that came on my radio show and put up with my radio show and everything that can and would happen and did happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's like kudos to you and thank you. I appreciate
no
you.
problem.
You've never been forgotten. I think about doing,
Yep.
but I got a kitchen instead of a recording
Yeah.
studio anymore. Because
Yeah, we were talking beforehand too, and I asked Tramp. I said, "Man, why don't you get back into it?" Because I mean, I do remember I listened to a little bit because I was definitely introduced to you at the very end of the Swamp Gas show. Like, I mean, I think you only had a few more episodes, and then it was done. But
yeah,
you had Harold on and stuff, and you said some things happened, and you had to shut that show down. So
well, I shut it down because it ended up. Okay, well, you're used to having a constant 1,500 to 2,000 people on your stream,
if I would get 100, I would be
and
tripping.
then the server screws up, and I have to get a new server. Well, everything survived that, but the numbers dropped to like 800 because everybody went somewhere else, which is what people do.
Well,
So
there's probably a lot
you're
more
going to
options
do
there.
that. But when this situation happened with Dark Waters, he after on the show that I'm interviewing him with, and then after the show, and I agree to do Swamp Gas on his platform,
Okay.
and he screws me totally around. By that time, the way he screwed me around, I mean, Harold graciously did a show for me,
Yeah.
and he never got to hear it, and and some other people did, but some good things came out of it. The girl that did my news, Kat Ward, she has her own podcast going on now, and she's got freaking, she's up there. Her numbers are like really up there.
What's her name and what's her show called? I want to write it down. Check it out.
I don't remember what her. Kat Ward is her name.
KAT or CAT?
Kat. Yeah. KAT.
Okay, Kat.
Kat
Yeah,
Ward
I'll have to check that out sometime.
Okay, yeah, check her out, and she'll graciously. But and I was supposed to co-host for her. She talked me into it, and then the things happened, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So the way life works, the way it does, and through this bullshit that we're going through and have been going through for the last 2.5 years now,
Yep.
I decided to start writing again.
That's cool.
And so that's what I did with a lot of it. And recently I've got involved with things going on at the old Secor Hotel.
Yeah, why don't you, I don't know how many people know this, but there's like a psychic fair and a grand opening going on downtown this Saturday. Why don't you talk about that? Yes, hang on. Dana, yes, there's little kids in the background.
Yeah. I've got a house full of people right now. So
he lost his studio. He's got a kitchen now instead.
I have a house full of people. I mean, there's 4 kids. 3 of those kids are like under 7 years old. And there's 3 dogs and there's 4 adults here today. And so, whatever happens.
Yep. My dad has joined us, and the Black Swamp Medium has joined us. So, but yeah, actually, let's get back to what we're talking about. So I asked you to talk about that psychic fair and that grand opening that's going on Saturday.
Oh, yeah. Well,
because you're going to be participating in that.
Yeah. Let me get to that page here. Um, yeah, it's called Enchanted Enchanted Mystics Arts House of Intuitions, and the grand opening is Saturday morning at 9 o'clock in the morning. It goes till 6, and it's a free psychic fair where you can go and you can. It's free to go there,
Mm-hmm.
but you pay for readings. You pay for
Yep.
Reiki. I will be doing Reiki there. I've got a job there now. Yay!
Cool. Sweet.
And but yeah, there's psychics and there's tarot reading and there's stones and there's all kinds of healing going
Yep.
on.
Yep.
Um,
And this is all the kind of, it's a grand opening for a new store, isn't it?
yeah, it's the grand opening for Enchanted Mystic Arts of Intuitions, and there's even going to be a drum circle there
Yep. Now
tomorrow,
tell everybody
Saturday.
too that, I mean, I'm a paranormal guy, so
Well,
the cool thing to me is where it's at.
it's at 9 a.m. Excuse me, nine to 6.
Yep.
But this is at the old Secor Hotel.
Exactly.
They renamed the building, but it's 425 Jefferson in downtown Toledo.
Yep.
And if you get there early, then you can find some place to park for free. Uh,
Which is a little harder than it used to be downtown. I mean, now it's I do like to see that downtown Toledo is actually happening now, because I remember when I grew up, when I was in my 20s and early 30s, I mean, there was nothing going on downtown. Now you can go down there on a Friday, Saturday night, and it's packed, and I love to see it.
oh yeah, well, I wish they had kept things
Oh,
back in
your mic is cutting out.
the day. My mic is cutting out.
Yeah, it went really, really quiet.
Did it? I was going to talk about Portside there for a
Okay,
second.
it's back now.
That's weird.
Yeah, yeah, like the cord got bumped or something. It was weird.
Yeah, because I don't have a cord.
No, maybe it's the ghosts that live in your house. Who knows? You want to talk about that? Because you said you've lived in a, there it is again.
Okay.
You said you've lived in a pretty active house for a long time.
Oh yeah. But anyway, you guys would freak out. I got more to tell you about the Secor.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
We can. The Secor isn't haunted. People there have seen. There's like 3 or 4 different ghosts that are there, and they see like the old bellhop or porter. They see him walking all the time.
Hang on one second. We got to do something with the connection. It's really, really bad. Okay, whatever you did there just made it better. Go ahead and say something once.
Testing 1, 2.
Okay, it's the noise is gone, but it's real quiet.
The noise is gone, but it's real quiet.
Yeah, there was like a really bad buzz, and
just like swamp gas, and then the can will go on.
that sounds good there.
Okay. Anyway, I was talking about porter or the bellhop or whatever name
Yeah.
you give this person. You can see his full apparition walking through, going from one place to another. And there's a few other ghosts that are in place. And by the way, I'm going to put a shout out for the Registry Bistro. Their food
Okay.
is awesome. It's expensive, but it's awesome.
Is that in the same building?
It's in the same building. It's where the restaurant used to be in the Secor. That's the space that they're using for that.
My dad is in here. He's joining us tonight. He's watching the. I don't want to call him out on his age or anything like that, but I bet you he might have some memories of the Secor building. The Schlachters were I don't want to say a predominant name in Toledo, but we definitely have. I think they were. Type in the comments, Dad, what their business was, but I think it was Buckeye Paper Products or something like that, and they had a couple businesses under the name Buckeye. Now they have Buckeye Real Estate, it's actually in Sylvania now, but I mean there were some guys that had some pretty big businesses downtown Toledo back in the day that come from my family, and I don't really know them all yet. So, Dad, go ahead and type that in the comments, but he may have some memories of the Secor building too. Is this one of your friends? This I just put it up on the comments. It says, having lived in 3 haunted houses, I'd love to hear your experiences. Oh, they might have got that from the tag that I put. I think I remember who that is.
Yeah, we do.
Hang on a minute. Your connection is really, I don't know what it is.
Maybe it's the fact that we're talking about what we're talking about. Because I don't ever have any problems with this mic. It's audio box.
I think whatever. Go ahead and say.
To leave and come back?
No, whatever you did just fixed it. It was definitely sounding like something wasn't plugged in all the way or something like that. So, but that hiss is gone and I can hear you now. So whatever you did, I think fixed it.
Well, yeah, okay. I pushed the connection in on the audio box.
Okay. It's Al sang Santa Riga.
Yeah,
says it's Paul's energy, is what he's saying.
Yeah, he's Bronxville Paranormal. Hey, buddy Al, I've had him on my show. I don't know how many times.
So yeah, he like I said too. I'd like to hear about your haunted house.
All right,
because that's obviously we're a paranormal show and we like to hear about ghosts. So
we were living in Northwood, and Oregon. Was it Oregon? Okay, it was Oregon. Over by the gun range, where they sell the guns at on Woodville Road.
Oh yeah, yep. That
we're
I think it's Shooters.
Yeah, we were living. I don't remember the name of the place.
Okay.
And they didn't pay for an ad anyway. So anyway, we were living over there. We had to. It was time for us to move. So she wanted a house. So we started looking out this way for a house and found it. And the first time I'm walking through the yard and stuff like that, the realtor showed us the house. I'm picking up on all this weird stuff, and I got this smell going on, and I'm going back by the woods. And so I thought it was like a dead animal or something like that.
Yeah.
I found out later that it was one of the guys that used to live here, because the previous owner was married twice, and they both died.
They die in the house, or
yeah, and they disclosed that the lady Bernice, that was her name, that she would have weird stuff going on. Like she was a real neat freak, and she would clean the house just before bed, and she'd wake up and there'd be a heart on the counter made out of dust.
Oh wow!
She's the only one here, and she didn't have any pets. So she would have experiences like that. I would have experiences of when we first moved in of you would shut the refrigerator door, and you know that you shut the refrigerator door, and it'd come back open. Or I'm out in my shed and I'm doing whatever it is that I'm doing, and what the tool that I'm using, I put it down to do something. I go back to get it, and it's on the other side of the shed, and I haven't even walked over there. I haven't been on that side of the shed the whole time I've been in the shed.
Can I interrupt and tell a little story here that's very, very similar to that? Okay, so about 3-4 weeks ago, I lost this recorder. Okay, it was right after an investigation. I came home. I told this story, but I think only 2 people saw it. So I plugged it into the computer, downloaded the files. I would have picked it up and put it right here on the desk or back in my camera bag. So I went to use it like 3 days after that. And I searched every square inch of this dang office. I opened every box and case I had 7 or 8 times. I searched my camera bag probably 10 times because I knew that I would have put it in there, and never found it. So 3 weeks passes by, and then I go, my wife Dana said, you need to go into your office and acknowledge that somebody took it and ask them to give it back. So I'm like, this is kind of stupid, but what the hell? I've tried everything else, so I'll try that. So I did that. And then I left the office, went out into the back room, and I was like, oh, crap, I need my camera tomorrow. I better charge the batteries. So I went back in and opened my camera bag to get my battery and charger out. And this recorder's sitting right there. Along with, this is the amazing part, along with this second one, they're 2 identical recorders. The second one I lost 4 years ago.
Wow.
Right after recording at the Collingwood, that house that sits out in front of it, that that
Yeah.
broken down one.
Yeah.
Right after recording there, I never saw that recorder again. I have been in that camera bag, and it's not very big. It's a small camera bag. I've been in that thing a minimum of 2 or 3 times a week for the last 4 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There is no way in hell that two of these recorders escaped me from seeing them. Especially, and I searched my old house for that first one and stuff. So I mean, it's crazy how ghosts and spirits and things like that can like remove your tool,
It
put
is.
it on the other side of the room, or take my recorder for 4 years and then put it back. I've moved 3 times
Mine
since I
won't give
lost that
it.
recorder.
Mine won't give it back. The plastic piece that holds the battery right
Okay.
here.
Yep.
I go to change the battery. I set the plastic piece down on the guitar case.
Yeah.
I grab the battery, go to grab the plastic piece to stick the battery in it and put it back in my guitar, and it's gone.
Yep.
And I can't. It's just gone. And the room has been cleaned multiple times.
Yeah. Yep. That's what I said, man. I searched every square inch of this place. I even got into cases that, you know, my microphone cases and things like that I know that I didn't even open for, a month or so. But I even checked all that thoroughly, and it's just I was blown away. I've never had something like that happen to me that was like you've got like I was really excited. I'm like, I mean, I could have maybe said that the first one I thought, well, maybe I missed it somehow, even though I know I didn't. But then for that second one to come up, I was just like, holy shit, how did that happen?
We don't. We do have stuff coming up missing, but usually it comes back within an hour of bitching about it.
Yeah, but that one was 4 hours or 4 years. This one, this we got a question here. It says, was there anything on it that they recorded? No, there's nothing on it. But I think at least the first one that came up missing 4 years ago, like I said, I recorded something at Collingwood, but the night before I had recorded an interview of a lady who had bad gnarly experiences at the Collingwood,
Yeah.
and I hadn't listened to that yet either. So those two things were on there, and I really think that that's why that one came up missing. There's something on there I'm not supposed to hear, and I haven't listened to everything yet, but so there may be something recorded on there.
Well,
But
we have once in a while you might hear a footstep or something in the attic.
Mhm.
People, you will hear the car come home 15 minutes before they actually come home, and the dogs will go nuts thinking somebody's just pulled into the driveway.
Yeah.
And I would hear the car door slam, but nobody's here. And I'm not
Mhm.
the only one that hears this. And,
Right.
this is nothing, however. And this is a juicy story. Right across the street from me, there's a mud pit. And it's water. That's what they used it for, was before it became a mud pit. The clay tile, that's where they harvested the clay tile and stuff like that. Well, there's railroad tracks over here. And there was a house there where the person that originally the house, it burnt down, but originally the house was the place of business.
Okay.
And but that burnt down, and then they put the house there, and people were living in the house. Well, the first people, they were all weird, and they used to collect animal skulls, and they would do all kinds of fucked up weird stuff.
Yeah.
All right, and
Was it just out of being weird, or was it some kind of religion thing going on, or
I
don't you
can't.
know?
Well, it was so long ago. The people that tell me the stories, it's like you got to take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can check on it is the woman went into her house one day, killed her family,
Ooh.
got in her car, went to leave. As she's pulling out the driveway, somebody came over the tracks and T-boned her and killed her.
Man, talk about instant karma.
Now, the energies over here are really fucked, but that story doesn't end there. The next people that bought the place, long story short, the guy went in, killed his family, and then cut his head off with a chainsaw. How do you cut your head off? How do you cut
Yeah.
your own head off with a chainsaw? But
Yeah, I don't think that's possible.
they said he cut his head off with a chainsaw. So my friend Barry, who his son bought the house, didn't live in the house except for like 2 weeks out of the year.
Yeah.
And the rest of the time, Barry did his outboard motor stuff and took care of the yard and cut the grass and all this kind of happy stuff. He the first time his son stayed at the house, his son was there for a day and a half, left, and they gutted the entire house. They couldn't stand it, and they literally gutted the entire house and rebuilt that house from the inside out. And then Barry died about the same time that I'm doing the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And he was making a project, and I was making a project. Was basically what it was. It was a light that was going underneath a motorcycle gas tank. I built mine for my friend. He built his for his son.
Okay.
So about 4 weeks after I saw him last, and he told me he was going to do this, I go over to the house, and the grass isn't cut, and there's shit is a mess.
Yeah.
He's not around. I get this tap on my shoulder. He says, "I'm dead."
Oh.
And I'm going, "Oh man, son of a bitch." And so I go home. I tell Kelly about it. In fact, I think I even did my radio show that night and told people about it. 6 hours later, I get a confirmation by my buddy that lives in town on Facebook that he died.
Oh my God.
And 2 days later, I went down and talked to his wife, and that was the first time I met his wife, because his wife never went there. And she told me what happened. But he didn't die in the house. He died at his house over, I guess they lived in one of the houses on Summit Street, one of the real big ones.
Oh, okay.
Over in North End.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, we've had issues with the people that bought the house.
Yeah.
They have become very finicky.
Uh-huh.
And they keep to themselves. They used to have a horse on the property, and the train, they said it was the train that spooked the horse, but the horse kept getting out. But one of their people turned up missing, and I don't think they ever found him.
Oh, wow.
So that's the history around here with stuff. I mean, because there's people like,
I think I remember hearing stories too that you were telling Harold that like you really for a while had something nasty and gnarly living at your house. That was really, really bad.
That was during what I was talking to you about with Barry, because Barry, I didn't finish that part. Thanks for reminding me.
Yep.
Barry tapped me on the shoulder, said he was dead. Well, after that, the foundation had started on the house, and the carpenter had started putting walls up in the kitchen, and you could hear people running. Everybody's in the house, and the dogs are in the house, but you could hear people running across the kitchen floor.
Yeah.
And the energy was such where people would fight with each other at the drop of a dime.
Yeah.
You know how that works.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So I had to do some major cleansing. And but the funny thing is after I acknowledged that they were even here, it quit.
Yeah.
That fast. It stopped.
Yep. Yep. I had a story, speaking of like contractors and building things, I was involved in building a lot of houses back in the 90s and early 2000s. And we were doing a project out like in Anthony Wayne somewhere. I don't even remember exactly where it was, but the plumber was in the basement, and he heard someone come in the house and walk around and like stop at the basement stairs. And he looked up, and there's, he called out, no one answered. He went upstairs. There's no one there. And 3 or 4 different people had experienced somebody coming into that house when it was, it wasn't a person, it was a ghost. Well, then we found out that I guess a couple weeks before the house had already been built. At least it was dried in. There was a roof on it, siding, stuff like that. But the inside wasn't finished. So that's when it was time for us to come in. But there was a kid that went to Anthony Wayne that went to a party and drank too much and left the party and froze out in front of the tree. in front of this house, and they're thinking that, maybe it's his spirit. He was trying to get in the house that night to get warm, and that's, and then he ended up freezing to death, which was, a horrible story. But like, it's weird how construction and things like that can, there's a lot of haunted stories associated with construction. So anyway, let's start a new part of this. So I met you, the first time I ever met you was at the Collingwood Arts Center. It was at the Paracon, and I wanted to play a video that you've seen this video, but I don't think a lot of other people have because it doesn't have that many views. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video because we're definitely going to tell the story of the Collingwood, because the Ghost Hunters team Taps was here recently and they filmed an episode there, and I really think they dropped the ball. So I'm going to, I'm going to make a video on this and tell what we all know about the Collingwood. So here, I'm going to play this video real quick. It's only 3 minutes, so bear with us.
Well, after I talked to you, after I saw his video, I had a dream. I had a dream about a nun that used to be in that college a long time ago. All I know is in this dream, she commits suicide because of a priest. And we get into the parking lot, and the minute we get into the parking lot, I felt sick. And it wasn't from the Collingwood Arts Center. Something's in there. But it's that building next door. Something in that building next door blocked everything that I was trying to do in the park.
Holy shit.
Look at her neck, dude.
Something just grabbed me.
Oh wow, that is super red. We need to get her outside. I think everybody needs to go out right now.
Last year when we were here at the convention doing an investigation, and we had an entity come out of that same area, tap me on the back of the neck. The temperature went down to like 10 degrees, and then it tapped Jennifer. You could see her shirt move and her hair fluff up, and it ran into the chairs, and the chairs moved.
As we were walking through here, this piece of partition, whatever it is, came down, flying down, came down, hit Jeff in the head, and hit me in the shoulder.
Yeah, we don't need to watch the credits, but that's that's something I'm working on, because I've wanted to do that project for years. And the girl in the video, the one that had the red mark on her chest,
from Haunted Toledo.
Yeah, yep, I was with them at that time, and we don't discuss that anymore. But it is what it is. But anyway, she that messed her up for a few years, and she
I know it did.
She did not want me to talk about that ever. Like because I filmed that whole event. I know Haunted Toledo put a video out, about that. That was me that filmed it. But but she was told by a priest or a pastor or something to like, just don't ever talk about that incident ever again. Don't let anybody else talk about it. Don't give it attention, blah, blah, blah. So I could never tell the story, just out of respect for her and what happened to her, because that was bad, dude. The last clip, and I didn't catch it all on video camera, but there's 2 dark maroon marks on her throat here. Yeah. Her ears were bright red, but they were just spots. It wasn't like faded like a scratch. You know what I mean? Like they were like someone burned you with a cigarette or something like that,
Yeah.
but bigger. I mean, that was an intense situation.
I think that was
I think you were
the
there
part.
that year, and that's when I met you.
I
Was
was
that day?
there. I was there with Kara, my friend Kara, and Grizz was there.
Yep.
Yeah, I worked on Grizz. But before that happened, me and Harold and the rest of the team were upstairs.
Yep.
And I lost the video clip to it because
Well,
from my cell phone, I lost a video where I said, "Are there any children
yeah.
here?" And there's a backstory to this that I'll tell you about.
Yep.
Are there any children here? And you hear like 20. It sounded like there's 20 different kids slamming their fucking feet, boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 and it was loud as, and it went on for a good 20 seconds. You could hear this.
Yeah. Yeah. I have that actually, and I told you I'd get you that video of that day because that was actually the next year because that was the next Paracon is when you guys did that. Um,
Well, that was I'm talking about the that
yeah,
was
you
that
guys were all up
next
in the
year
attic.
because
Yeah.
yeah, because I
Yep.
went. I thought Kara was with me up there in the attic too, because
I
that's what I did the deal with Grizz and took care. I don't know that he wants the whole thing to be spoken about, so I won't go there.
Yeah, I don't know. I
But
talked to him the other day through Messenger, and he's going to be on the show here in a couple weeks to talk about that. So we
because
probably should
there was
save it for him to
there
talk
was
about. But
a table, one, a great big long
yeah,
tall
yep,
folding tables. I
yeah,
thought there was like one or two of those that came down on
yep.
him. Something entered him, and that's what I got rid of.
So that's okay. So let's go back down into that basement. So that little corner, because Butch and Uncle Jeff from Togs, they had the same thing that one of those partitions or
Yeah.
one of those stage risers fell on them. So that's three people that I know of within a year or two that something has tossed those risers on. And me and Ryan went down here, and Ryan's in the chats with us tonight. But me and Ryan went down there. There is no freaking way that you could bump that, kick it, do anything on accident other than physically push it over yourself to get that to fall. Like they're heavy, dude. Like that's not happening. You know what I mean? There's nothing anybody could have kicked to make it fall. Like that was absolutely paranormal.
Well,
And
oh, I just had a brain fart.
now I was gonna say, and I think Grizz, I think, and I, not going to speak for him, and I'll ask him when he's on the show, but
Yeah, yeah.
he's had some health problems and stuff, and I think he attributes it to what happened to him at the Collingwood that
Well, I
removed
do
from him.
know the backstory, and everybody like I went tooth and nail, not tooth and nail, but I have old timers. Or had a lot of those people have passed since I've even started talking about this, but
Mhm.
I have old timers that knew about what happened at the Collingwood. They knew. I'm just going to come out and say it. Right after World War One, where everybody died of the flu or was drafted and killed in the war, there
Mhm.
was no one to take care of these children. The Miami Children's Home was full.
Yep.
So these kids, a lot of these kids went and stayed at the Collingwood.
And
Or
it makes sense that they
uh,
would go to a convent or
they went to the Collingwood. And
because it was the Mary
the
Man's
priest,
College back then.
uh, the what do you call the nun, the mother superior,
Yeah, I
and the
think so. I'm not Catholic,
priests
so.
were in on it. And from what I understand from the stories that I've been told, which that he would sacrifice the children or he would sell them and keep the money for profits in the name of the church, and it would either human traffic or as slaves or what. There was nowhere for, and that's what he did with the children. And the children that are left that I was talking about that beat their feet on the ground
Yeah.
were the ones that stayed. The very when you go in the attic of the Collingwood, and you've got the dome there, and then you've got the windows on this side, and you look up, and there's that great big space where you could actually stand and walk around up there
Mhm.
in that part of the attic, but you can't get there.
Right.
I swear to you, if anybody goes up there, they're going to find bones of these children.
And it's possible because there's a lot of crap that's on that dome. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not
There's a
talking
lot
about
of
the dome.
places
I'm not talking about the dome. I'm talking about you
when
know
you
when
go
you're
around the
walking
dome,
the
you go
wall where the
upstairs.
door is, the door that you
Yeah.
go in to get there,
Okay.
that wall, you go
The
up
nun
there and
cells.
there's that great big opening and it goes that way towards whatever dormitories and stuff like that.
Yep. Yep.
The ceiling to those,
Yeah.
I swear that's.
Has anybody ever searched? Do you know?
I don't think anybody's ever been able to get up there to search.
God dang, dude.
But I swear to you, that's. I
Okay.
could be wrong. I don't.
I got to pause you for a second. Adam said that's correct. What are you talking about? Are you talking about his story or are you talking about something else that we said, Adam? Please clarify because Adam is a very, very trusted medium friend of mine. And if he's, he's been to the Collingwood several times too. So, I mean, that
I'm
would be
looking at
cool
his
if he knows
picture.
that that's
Yeah,
correct.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
He's a good dude. He's the black swamp medium. I'm the green swamp medium. So just don't get us confused because he's legit and I'm not. So let's see. Okay, Jerry's chiming in too. He says the attic area where the domed roof of the theater. He's asking that question, but it sounds like you're talking about outside of that.
Well, I am talking about, okay, when you enter, you go up the elevator and you
Yep.
come through the doors and you enter the attic. All right, where
Oh,
the
yeah.
dome is and all that. And you got the front windows on one side.
Yep.
On the other side, where the door is that you walk through, you've
Mhm.
got that wood wall.
Yep.
And
Okay.
you go up there and it's a good 15, 20 feet. That's how high the son of a bitch is.
Yeah.
And then you've got there's space that's like this coming across here. It's tall enough for you could put a tent up in there and live up in there.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
And I'm thinking that's where the kids hid so that the priest wouldn't get them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the place looked like back in the 30s, but
Well, I think it looked just like it did because it was built in 1905. So
yeah.
That part of the building was added onto the Gerber house in 1905. And oh shit, we got Harold in here now. You're in trouble.
Hey, Harold.
So,
I got a bone to pick you with you, man.
yeah. Hey, so okay, so yeah, like I said, I do have that. I have a copy of that video, and we'll get that to you because that's going to be part of my video too. Is that story? Because like I said, you and we know different things than what the Ghost Hunters episode put in there. That was just all fluff for TV. I didn't hate the episode, but it wasn't what we all know. It was not those stories at all.
I used to have a friend that, he lives on Melrose, but he lives on Cherry Street side of Melrose now. But he used to have a house on Melrose, and I used to live in one of the apartments on Adams, the Kenmore.
Okay.
I used to live in the Kenmore in the 80s. I was going to Statzenberger and all that kind of stuff, but I would walk and I'd because it was kind of dangerous to walk up Fulton. I didn't want to get messed with. So I'd walk up Collingwood.
Yeah.
And I'm walking, I've got my boom box, the 80s. I got my freaking boom box with me. I'm walking down Collingwood, in front of the Collingwood, and I see these kids and they're playing up on the roof up there, where you got the two pillars and then you got that little thing that they're playing up in there.
They're crazy.
And then they're talking to me, and it's like, what? Okay. If you don't get down from there, I'm going to tell, because I was under the impression it was still owned by nuns, even though there weren't any nuns there.
Yeah, because I think they sold it to
probably
the
like 86, 87 or
and
something.
they sold it to the art center in
So anyway,
85. Oh,
the front door that nobody goes through and nobody answers, the front door to the place there, the white front door.
Yeah.
I knocked on that door, and a nun opened the door and said, "Hi, what's up? Or how can I help you?" And I said, "You've got kids up in your roof." And she says, "There's no children here." And then she shut the door.
And that would have been the Gerber house door. And
Yeah.
like you said, if that was 1985, I think that's about the time that they sold it to the art center. So you're right. There wouldn't have been any nuns there because the college was bankrupt.
I get over to my buddy's house. I tell him what just happened. And he says he thought I was high or something, you know.
Right.
He said there ain't no nuns living there. There haven't been any nuns living there.
Yeah. Crazy, man. Yeah, it's that place is it's definitely, I I love the history of it and all that other stuff, but it does have a paranormal draw to it. And that interview, the first clip in that video, there was a lady talking about, it's not the art center, it's the house in front. And she's got some pretty crazy stories about there too. She was talking about smelling roses. She says, I had a dream and something to do with a nun named Rose. And, or no, she didn't say that part. She said, I smelled roses. There's something to do with roses here. I've got another clip where somebody is talking about they're up in the nun cells and they're like, I smell roses. Like, why do I smell roses? There's something to do with roses. Well, there is one confirmed death of a nun named Rose that passed away there.
Okay.
That I found that, we're in the very, very beginning phase of the research, but there was a nun named Rose something that had passed away there. So it wasn't a murder or anything grisly like that. It was natural causes, but
they're not going to keep records of human trafficking.
No,
they're not going to do that,
Right.
So I had to go by what these people told me.
How many people would you say told you that? I mean, are you talking one or two, or are you talking like?
No, I'm talking about people that my grandmother was one. She's passed on a long time.
Okay. So it's her to be credible. It's not like
my grandmother.
It's not like somebody just walked up down the street and said, "Hey, I want to tell you this story." So
no,
so you've got one credible witness.
I don't even know where these people are to find them now, or even if they're still alive.
I don't even need to find them. I'm just trying to get because if people hear a story like that, what they've probably already said this. Oh, come on, dude, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are probably going to say that, but if you're telling me that your grandmother, who is credible, told you this, then I believe the story to be true. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of rumors about that place that I want to find out which ones are true.
When you get confirmation by children stomping their feet, I mean,
Yep.
Because I'm looking and there's video footage, nobody is moving.
Yep.
And this is, how many stories is that? 4 or 5 stories?
That's on the fourth, yeah.
You're not going to hear anything going on underneath there.
Yep. And you're certainly not going to hear footsteps underneath you, because I believe the theater floor is concrete. Isn't it?
The other weird thing about that day, I'm remembering, is that me and Harold and Kara and everybody, the other group, we went down the next floor down.
Okay.
And we walked into this room that has this piano in it. Mm-hmm. Do you know what room I'm talking about?
Yep.
There was a black woman playing the piano, and there was 2 boys in that room as we walked in.
Okay.
What the hell were they doing there? Where did they come from?
Yeah, who knows, man?
It's like, wow. I mean,
okay,
I don't
we
know
got a
if
question here.
To that or not, but
yeah, we got a question here. Alfred wants to know: have you ever spoke to any of the children as adults? So any of the children that maybe were, God, they got to be.
If they're born in the 30s, they'd be like 90 now.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it'd be hard to track those people down, but yeah, we had a similar incident too, where like we were at the spaghetti warehouse, and I know a lot of my listeners have heard this story 1,000 times, but I'll tell it real quick. We were at spaghetti warehouse and we did some Estes experiments, and we've got EVPs of a lot of children in the spaghetti warehouse. Which, the spaghetti warehouse, have you ever heard of the Tenderloin District?
Yeah.
Okay, that was back in the 1918, where shit was crazy.
Something like that, yeah.
Yep. But that was like right in the center of it, where, prostitution happened, drugs, drink, all this stuff. Just, it was bad. And so I'm wondering, and this is another research thing that, we're going to try and do, but like, was that maybe like, I don't want to say a daycare, but is that where somebody was put in charge of watching all the children from the prostitutes? Is that why we got so many children voices up there? I mean, I'm
thinking that they were orphans.
Well, that's Collingwood, yeah.
At Collingwood, at Sketty Warehouse, I really couldn't tell you. I mean, the Sketty Warehouse, there used to be a car lot, a showroom up on the very top floor of that place.
Oh, the spaghetti warehouse?
of the spaghetti warehouse.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it used to be a car dealer up there.
I'll be damned.
And back, it's pretty amazing all by itself. Yeah,
Yep.
I think the cranes are still on the roof where they pick the cars up.
Well, there is a big elevator shaft. Like, I mean, you could definitely fit a car in there. Like it doesn't work now,
Right.
but it's definitely big enough. Like I could see a car fitting in there
But,
easy
you
and being
know,
taken up there.
where you take me when you're telling me this about the kids, I get the same fucked up feeling as I would when Chris Tillman and those did the Bone House.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like that was full of animal bones, but damn
Yeah.
well there was more than animal bones mixed in with all that.
Yeah, I mean, I was there, and I mean, people say, well, what if it's probably animals that just died in the studs? No, I mean those
They did
cavities were
Santeria.
full. Yeah,
They did
those
Santeria majorly in that house.
those cavities were full of bones. Like any place they tore out floors, walls, anything. I mean, full of bones. And it was Harold has a story too of not too far down the road from there. They had another situation where they had a case where they found some bones. They actually had to shut down the investigation because they were definite human bones. So, let's see. I've got to take I get an official union break every week when I do this. I've got to go get a refill. So I'm going to put you in charge of talking about something. What is there anything? Oh, plug your books.
Yes.
Why don't you do that? Let's talk about your books.
Grab my books.
All right.
Man.
I will be back in like 2 minutes or less.
And these are hardcover too.
And I'm going to ask you when I get back where to get them, but go ahead and promote your books.
All right. Well, I've got, what's up, everybody? Now I get to subject you guys to having to listen to me plug my books. Yeah, I'm an author. I'm not all that in a bag of chips, but Al's read my book. And Brian, if he's in there, he's read my book. I don't know who else would have read my books. But this one is a compilation of my work. It's called Swamp Dust, 4 Twisted Tales. And it's got a story about time travel in it. It's got a story about immortals and dragons and stuff like that. And it's also got the stuff that we were talking about the hauntings across the street and hauntings in my house and other hauntings in Millbury, Ohio. And you can get this on, you can either get it in hardback or softback, or you can get it on Kindle. Then there's Immortals Among Us, and I was just talking about that, where it's mortals pretending to be human, pretending to be witches or something like that. And you've got, magic and dragons and immortals that live in 2 different worlds and try to walk amongst the humans. That's what this here book is about. And if you are interested in that, and then I've got my time travel book, and it's called Twisted Life, Time Slips, Reality Shifts, and Aliens. And this is the book where I talk about the Commodore Perry Hotel, and I talk about the Secor, and the main characters live at these places. And I talk about Collingwood and what we were just talking about with the priest and all that kind of happy stuff where the kids were being sold off. And this goes in several different time periods all the way back into the Civil War. And all these books are on Kindle, or they're in soft cover, or they're in hardcover, though I'm thinking about getting rid of the hardcovers because Amazon just wants too fucking much money for these things. For a hardcover book, it's ridiculous. But I got the hardcovers just so I could hang them up on the wall. But yeah, Amazon, you can get them at Amazon, or you can get a hold of me. Or if you go to the Secor tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but Saturday, I have some books there I can sell you, and I'll sign them for you.
I was going to say, so like if people are looking them up on Amazon, is Arizona Tramp the author name that you go by?
No. Okay. No. It's my author name is my real name. I'll spell it in the chat for you.
I was going to say, because I don't even know your real name. I always thought it was Arizona.
No. My nickname is Tigger.
Okay.
And there's a few different reasons why. It's Tigger, but because I'm a biker for one, and I just
Gotcha.
go by that.
Yep. Ryan had a comment too about the bone house. He said he found more bones in that house than you can imagine, and I was, a couple times there right behind him with a freaking camera, so I can testify.
Yeah, it's like a damn graveyard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was crazy. Um, let's let's open it up too. If anybody has any questions that they want to ask you, go ahead and ask them. So Harold said he's proud of you. I don't know why. No, I'm just kidding. No, he's Harold's still trying to get his book out. He's working on it, people. So he talks about this book that he's going to put out. But it's I'm artistic in that way too. Like I'm not going to put like this Collingwood video. I'm not going to say it's going to be out by June 6th of
Right.
2022. It'll be out when it's done. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? Because
yeah.
there's definitely like doing research, man. You get into researching something and you get into rabbit holes and it's like, oh shit, now I got to find this and I got to find that and I got to, so it's definitely like when it's done, it'll be done. And I'm sure you know that.
This book here, let me do it. Yeah, you see that?
Immortals Among Us. Yep.
Immortals Among Us. This one sells, and Swamp Dust sells. This one doesn't, and part of the reason I think is because it's not supposed to, because I'm not done with it.
Yeah.
And so, because hardly anybody has read this thing, I'm going to totally redo it, and
Yeah.
that kind of
And,
thing. Plus,
yep. And were you like put under some kind of date deadline or anything like that, or just?
No, I can't. I
Okay.
mean, I've been talking about this with like the barmaid at the Registry Bistro.
Okay.
I was talking to her last fall about this.
Okay. So that's your newest one.
Doing it. So and I've talked with Brian and Al, telling them I'm going to do it for how many months now, Al? I mean, so.
They want you to say the name again. So you've got Immortals Among Us is one of them.
All right, there's Immortals Among Us. Life is a Human.
Life is a Human.
Life. Time Slips, Reality Shifts, and Aliens.
Okay.
And then there is Swamp Dust, Four Twisted Tales. And that book, Swamp Dust, is like 600 pages long.
Oh shoot!
But
and that's kind of your memoirs, right?
And I'm one of the reasons I'm stopping the hardcover is because in the hardcover it's screwed up and the table of contents is not really right in it. So if you want the hardcover, I'd hurry up before it just goes back to softcover. But they want like $20 for this damn thing.
Well,
yeah.
I mean that's fair for a book. I mean that's what a book costs nowadays.
It seems to me like a really expensive.
It's actually for a hardcover. That's a little bit on the low end. So Jerry, okay, I gotta give Jerry some props. He's the newest member of our team. And man, you mention an address or a house or something like that, and 5 minutes later, not even that, I'm getting a text like it's got the history and everything. So Jerry looked it up for us on Amazon, and there's the link. So if people want to go, if people are interested, they can even go to this broadcast later on, go to the comments, and click on this link.
If people are so inclined, what Amazon suggests or makes me charge for it, I go maybe $1 above that. So I'm.
I hear you. We had another comment. Dana's in the other room because I interrupted you. We were asking what your real name was so that people can look you up on Amazon that way too.
It's Paul Eison. It's spelled IESON.
Okay. Do you have an author page or anything like that?
On Amazon, I do.
Okay. So, on Facebook or anything, or
I do on Facebook too. Yes.
Okay.
Under that name on Facebook, I have you've got my Arizona Tramp Facebook. I've got a Paul Eison Facebook too.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Yeah, Harold was going to out you if you didn't say what your name was. So he's going to bust your balls the whole time he's in here.
Yeah, Harold. Uh-huh.
Yeah, but Harold, I don't even think you want that smoke because I've heard some stories about you from Arizona the other night. So I think you've got something coming.
About how he was supposed to call me back about a certain thing I asked him about.
You know what?
I'll just leave it at that. But
Yep. I asked him about that, and you and I know what it is, and he knows what it is. And I said, "So you were supposed to do that thing?" And he goes, "Oh fuck, I totally forgot about that."
Yeah, well,
So yeah, that was a
I
oops.
wasn't holding my breath.
Yep. Yeah, that was a oops. Let's see. I got a private message. Oh, okay. So you sent me that private one. Gotcha. Um, yeah. So if we don't have any questions, I mean, we've been on here for an hour. I try and keep it to about an hour. Is there anything else you want to talk about, or are you doing Reiki like only for that place, or do you do it private? And how can people get a hold of you if they're interested?
Well, over the last few months, I've been doing a lot of work with Source and if you don't understand what Source is the energy that is universal. There's no light, there's no dark. Source could, if you're connected to Source, that's great. If you're not connected to Source, Source could give a flying fuck. Source doesn't judge you. It doesn't give a fuck what you do with your life.
Mm-hmm.
Source is where, if you're a Christian, Source is where your God would get the mojo from to be who he is. He draws his stuff from Source. That is. So I've been doing a lot of work with this anyway, and it seems like everything is lining up, and Source wants me to give the message like a little bit of what I just gave.
Okay.
And it wants me to do healing, and it also wants me to, because shit's gonna get real here. They've
Yeah.
been real slow about it, but shit's gonna be fucking real, and they want me to be able to help people. I'm not anybody's savior or anything, but it's like, okay, well, how do you do this or something, and
Mm-hmm.
I can show you or whatever.
Yeah, I think there's and here again, I definitely don't want to get into this topic, but I mean, because I thought about doing a show maybe on my private page or something. It's definitely not paranormal related, but like there's a lot of for people that are Christians, there's a lot of end time prophecies that are really, really lining up right now.
Well, you
And
got to understand that the government's. Yeah, I don't want to take it
yep,
to
yeah, I don't want to go there because I think you and I could
yeah,
probably talk about this shit for
we could
hours.
talk about this for hours,
Yep.
and the people came here to listen to ghost stories, not about
Exactly. Yep. Yep. Yep.
how Biden sucks.
We'll save that for another show because I mean there's a lot of world events going on that are lining up
So I
perfect.
apologize for even starting to go
No,
there.
no, no, no. Well, you said source in helping people, and people are going to need help, and that's
Source.
kind of why I brought that up because
Well,
we're definitely coming into a time period where there's going to be a lot of
okay,
confused people.
well,
Like, what the hell
let
happened,
me
and they need
explain
help.
it in a way that politicians have no choice and they can't affect it in. The Earth, every 1,200 years, goes through its changes. Right now, the Earth is breathing in. And as it breathes in, it was 70 degrees above normal temperature in the Arctic 2 days ago. 70
Okay.
fucking degrees. Why is this taking place? And this is all documented fact that you can go look up. The volcanic ring of fire up at the Arctic, all the underwater volcanoes are all going off at the same time. This is why the glaciers are melting. It's not from cow farts. It's not from people farts. It's not from people driving cars. It's from all the volcanic activity and the hot magma and everything else that are driving the temperatures the way they are. We are
Yep.
also going through solar activity that I warned about back on my show years
Mm-hmm.
ago.
I know a lot of people that are sensitive and like mediums and things like that. They talk about these solar flares
Every,
and how that really, really affects.
every 1,200 years or so, 12,000 years, it's not 1,200 years, it's 12,000 years. Every 12,000 years or so, give or take, whatever. It's not the end of the world. It's not doom and gloom. That's not what I'm preaching. But what I'm telling you is that either you make it or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I know my granddaughter will be one of those people that help guide people
Yep. Yep.
and things, because it might take It's not going to take nearly as long as you think it's going to
Let
take
me
to happen.
let me ask you this. This is a related question, but so like I know a lot of people that are already established mediums and things like that are going through changes. They're going through, they call them upgrades.
Yeah,
Um,
they do.
my wife
We're
is
in a major we're in a
really
major
starting to
upgrade
open
right
up.
now.
So as that's what I was going to ask you. Are you finding, there's a lot of new people that are finding that they have gifts and they're actually able to use
It's
them now. Have you experienced that
okay.
as well with people?
Yeah, definitely. As you know, uh, we left the old age and we are going into the age of Aquarius. That takes 150 years to go from one age to another.
Okay.
And as we get further into the age of Aquarius, the old ways start to fall away and new ones start to come together.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so people waking up and it's like some people become more psychic, some people
Yep.
become more clairvoyant, some people just become aware, some people pull their
Yep.
head out of their butt.
Well, we've kind of got a running joke here that like I have abilities. I've always said that I'm as sensitive as a rock. You know what I mean? But dude, I'm going to tell you what. The last couple months, I've had a few experiences that like, okay, I don't get that. Like I like two times a white ball of light has come out of the hallway behind me. A little white ball looks like a cigarette ash, almost like that size, comes in that doorway, comes up to me, like goes up me and then behind, and then I lose it. It's happened twice. That story I told with the recorders.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of things where, and my wife looked at me today and she looked at me kind of funny too. And she's like, you're opening up. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of people are coming into
Well,
abilities that they don't know that they had.
if you come down there Saturday, we can do some chakra work, or
I think we're
somebody
coming.
down there will do some chakra work with you. It's not my store, so
Yep.
I'm not in
No,
charge
no, no. Yep.
of anything about that, but
But I've gone to my friend Carmen for and she's chiming in right now. Yes, they are. I've gone to her for, I don't know if she did Reiki on me or some kind of energy work, but like, I mean, it scared the shit out of me a little bit. Like she was so accurate in what she said. It's creepy. But she's another one. You guys should be friends on Facebook at the very least, because like her and Adam are really, excuse me, her and Adam are like really, really good people, and they have, they do energy work, and they're, we're starting to pimp Adam out a little bit. This is a little secret that not many people know about yet, but we're trying to pimp him out to do like gallery readings and stuff like that, because he's really, really good, but he doesn't know his value. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people out there making a lot of money doing this stuff,
there
and I'm not saying it's all about the money, but
there
like,
is. And Mystic said something to me today on the phone that I don't know how to. She says, "I want you to start teaching," and it's like,
mhm,
what?
yep.
Who the hell am I to do that?
You probably fall maybe in his category too. Like you just don't know your worth. You know what I'm saying? Like there's because I saw a price list of some of these mediums and stuff like this and what they charge for what they do. I was blown away. Like I wish I
Yeah,
had these abilities, because dude, I'd be freaking rich.
it is freaking incredible. But when I sat here a few minutes ago and I said, "Source is where your God gets its energy to do what it does."
Hmm.
I'm pagan, by the way, people. If you don't understand
Okay.
where I'm coming from with that, um, but when I make a comment like that, um, it does this. It rubs people the wrong way
Yep.
immediately.
I was gonna say you were guarded when you said that.
Yeah, it shuts people
Yep.
off immediately when you say things like that.
Yep.
And so I have to question Mystic when she says she wants me to teach, because that's where I'd be coming from, and I don't see where, she does angel work and she does light work and she does this and she does that, and so I kind of question, it's like, because it seems like what I'm saying is doesn't fit or something. I don't
Well,
know.
just I mean I know what you're trying to say. It sounds outrageous to people that don't have an open mind.
It
And
does.
it sounds like, what the fuck is this guy smoking? That's what
When
it
you when
sounds
you
like to
think
people that aren't
of
open minded.
people always ask, well, what's the force? Well, the force is source.
Hmm.
It's not light. It's not dark. It doesn't choose sides. You use it the way that your heart that tells you to use it.
Yep.
Either, because it's just the way that it works, and it
Right.
doesn't care. It really. That's what karma is for.
Yeah.
Karma is to take care of all that stuff because source don't give a shit.
Right.
But, you know,
It doesn't sound like Source is a judgmental.
source is. So I use source like the electricity that turns your lights on and off.
Yep.
For a good example, that lightning bolt.
Hmm.
It's not good. It's not bad. It doesn't care. It's hit the ground and
It's just
whatever.
energy. It does what it does.
That's source.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know that and then there's. But anyway, I don't
Yeah,
want
I gotta interject here anyway. So, there's a very pricey, you know, um, industry out there with mediums and psychics and readings and Reiki and all that stuff. But if anybody wants a bargain, they can go to my friend Harold St. John for 25 cents an hour. That's as cheap as you get for a reading, dude. I mean, it would take 4 minutes for him to read me, so that's like $1. I mean, damn,
Yeah,
you can't beat those prices.
Harold would read me and give me another hat or call me a dumbass. One or the other.
He probably would. He'd probably say, you know what, Tramp, you're going to be in my book, and here's a hat. I'm just kidding. I love Harold to death, and he knows that. I mess with him, he messes with me. So, well, we're at an hour and 12. So this, I definitely think we should probably wrap it up unless
Okay.
somebody has one last minute question. But if not, come down and see Tramp at the old Secor building this Saturday between 9 and 6 at, what's the name of the store again? One more time,
Oh,
whatever it is, the new Mystic store.
it's the Mystic Shop. It's right there at
Yep,
the
you
front
won't
of the
miss it.
building on the left hand side, and you know I don't have the name in front of me right now. So
So I think they're billing it as a psychic fair. So
yeah, it is a psychic fair.
yep. So
And I tell you what, you walk into that place, it'll blow your mind.
yep, psychic. I mean, they sell like the crystals and the
They sell
usual.
crystals, they sell jewelry, and you got your tarot readings and
Yep.
psychic readings and Reiki and there's a drum circle going on too. So
Yep.
if you want to come down, hang out, and bring your djembe, that works.
Adam, you can bring your flute. Can I bring my snare drum?
You can bring a flute.
From
You
my
can bring
from
your
my
snare
Gretsch kit.
drum. Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
you,
That's one thing we never got into, and we'll have to do that some other time. But you're a musician as well, correct?
that I like to think I am.
Yeah. So I'm in the same boat. Like I tell people, yeah, I can play a little bit on a guitar, but I've had people tell me I'm good, but I personally think I suck. So
It's
uh,
like I release 30-second clips on TikTok, but that's about
okay.
it.
Yeah. I haven't put anything out. Like it's been a while. I haven't been in a band for a long time, and Harold has my drum kit set up in his house, and
It's
he
been
he thinks he's a prodigy, and he's
it's been 30 years at least since I've been in a band. So
gotcha. Yep. Yeah,
and
it's been.
it's been
I
20
think.
years since I've been on stage.
Yep. Dude, I went. Okay, I gotta just real quick. I gotta tell a story. So I went from playing in a rock band. We were called Sexy Roast Beef. We played, Tool, the Beatles, Creed. We played old and new music. A lot of heavier stuff. Um, and I went from that to I had a I had a come to Jesus moment. So I quit the band and stuff. And I went and I played for a church. You want to know how weird it was playing in the light for the first time, like in a lighted stage instead of a bar? It was like, it tripped me out, man. I had a hard time playing without drinking. It was weird to stand on a totally lit stage instead of a dark room with lights. I was like, this is weird. So, but that was the last stage I played on. So,
Yeah.
but
Well, I used to. I was on stage for a little bit 20 years ago.
mhm.
That Club Mars over on Lewis, Shadow was running that.
Okay.
And I met Bob Seger's one of Bob Seger's old bass guitarists there.
Oh, cool.
So
Yep. Cool.
yeah, it was good seeing you too, Larry.
Yep.
Leon, Butch.
Yeah, everybody calls him Butch. Like I said, I don't know why he goes by Larry. Maybe that's his author name. I'm just
I don't know.
all right, everybody. Thanks to you for tuning
Y'all,
in.
thanks.
We're gonna say goodbye to Tramp. I'm gonna play that video one more time, and then the show's gonna end. So,
Okay.
actually, no, I'm not, because then you and I will have to sit here and watch it again, and I don't think we want to do that. We've already seen it a few times. So, but everybody, check out. Be sure to follow our YouTube page, Boo Productions Paranormal. Obviously, anything on YouTube, I post on Facebook too. So that's a good way to get updates. But we are definitely coming out when it's done. I'm not going to say soon, but when it's done, we are doing the Collingwood story the right way instead of the Ghost Hunters way, the Taps way. So thanks again, Tramp.
All right.
We'll talk to you on Saturday.
You hell, cool. I look forward to seeing you. So, all right, everybody, thanks for
Yep.
joining in, and I will see you. Bye.
Thank you.